Running Sentences presents Miles to Go. Part 1. Moving on. Living mile by mile, Hiram is a man lost in his ways. He keeps traveling to cities and keeps traveling on by. Settling down would have been nice, except every time he finds somewhere, something seems to go wrong, or, well, his job tends to keep things interesting. This story is written and narrated by Michael Hiram. This story is a work of fiction, so any names, characters, businesses, events, and situations within this story are products of the author's imagination. Any resemblance to real people, situations, characters, businesses, events, and/or fictional businesses, characters, events, and so on and so forth is purely coincidental. Copyright 2026, Michael Hiram, all rights reserved. Hiram stood up from the booth in the back of the restaurant he was eating at. Two cops were making their way through the establishment and were questioning people, which was never a good sign. They always wanted something, and he never had answers that would make them happy. The two stopped not far from him at another booth where a couple were enjoying their early dinner. "Evening. You two haven't heard about this man going around passing bad money, have you?" "Oh, goodness, no. Who would do such a thing, officer?" "No idea, but we got a tip that they're in the area. We gotta check out in case they are around here." Keeping moving, Hiram realized a second late that this probably would be a suspicious move to do. "Hey, you, stop for a moment. Do you know anything about that strange person with too much money?" the officer called out. No, I can't say that I do." He turned to the cops, trying to give them a smile to show that he wasn't going to be threatening in any fashion. They were looking over at him, neither looking all that threatening at him either. "What can you say?" "I'm a person passing through. Life comes, life goes," Hiram offered uncertainly. "You a poet of some sort, or some sort of deep thinker?" "No, just a man who likes to be on the road. If you don't mind, I'd like to go to the bathroom." "Oh yeah, I don't mean to stop you, sir," the officer said with a wave of their hands. "Thank you." With a hurried step, he headed towards the bathroom, which also conveniently were near the pickup spot for order out. There was a door out there, and to freedom. No one would suspect a thing, and he'd put down enough money to pay for his meal, so it was all good. Still, he glanced back to see if anyone was paying attention to him. The pickup area was empty, and no one gave him a second look. With a sigh of relief, he stepped out. Nearly 10 hours of driving put Hiram in a new town. It was a good thing that everything here was spread out, though. Calling someone was easy to tell them to look out for someone. He wasn't sure if the cops would put out a signal for him. This town with this main street looked big and busy enough that someone might be able to slip by unnoticed as he drove into it. And as he stepped from his car, he fought back a yawn and looked about the place. He was used to towns that had a hotel or a motel close to the main street and were small, tiny, and not great, but that didn't appear to be the case here. Thankfully, there were a few people out and about. "Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to know where a hotel or a motel is, would you?" A young woman jumped in surprise at being talked to, but after a few blank stares and blinking, she answered, "Oh, yes, I think there's one near the highway. I'm not entirely sure, though." Thank you." Did you drive here without knowing where you are? I'm sorry for asking you, but you look really frazzled." Is it that obvious?" "Yeah, people don't visit here without a reason, and there are no conferences in town, there's not really anything going on in town, so—" "I stand out like a sore thumb?" "You could say that, sir, though I never really understood why or what it actually meant." Hiram took a moment to think about that as he moved to the sidewalk to look at the meter machine that would need some money. "Yeah, one of those things you merely say because you heard it somewhere, and now just say it, I guess." Oh, if you say so. Do you need help, or can I get on with my day? All right. Sorry, apologies. If you have something else to do, please don't let me keep you from it. One last thing. Do all of these meters use credit cards instead of cash? Yeah. You don't have a credit card? No, I just prefer cash. She looked around for a second, then pulled around her purse, taking it out and bringing out her card. Here, let me help you. My company gives us a pass card for these sorts of machines, but I never use them since I don't have a car. I live close by. That's incredibly nice of you, especially for a person you don't know. She offered a shrug in return, pulled out his wallet, and fished out some of the cash money he had. This will be good for about 6 hours, I believe it was. You might want to check on it sooner, just to be on the safe side. The card was placed against the meter, which responded with a happy-sounding beep. She then turned to him with a smile as he held out some cash. I don't know how much that cost, but at least let me offer you something for taking up your time. Do I look like the type of person who's desperate for money? I don't know. It's merely an offer because money is good to offer to someone who's been nice to you. Is it wrong to want to repay a favor? She sighed and shook her head. Sorry, I don't want to come off as ungrateful, but to take money from a stranger? Like I just did? Hiram pointed out to her. Those words stopped her for a second. I had not actually thought of it that way. It's merely an offer, and you don't have to take what I'm offering. I felt the need to point it out. Thank you, and good day. Putting the money back into his wallet, he gave a polite wave and began moving towards where she pointed the hotel was. He kept moving, not wanting to bother her, while mulling in his mind if he'd been too forward in that sort of situation. The money really was no object, and he'd rather be rid of it, but maybe he'd overstepped. With a shrug, he carried on. It had taken a bit of haggling to get to the front desk of the hotel and to get them to agree to take cash for a hotel room. They would take money in payments of days, since they didn't want to deal with lots of cash just lying around. Hiram was sure that they'd probably call the police about this, which would make his stay rather short here, but to get some rest on bed would be nice, except now he was lying on that bed of a single-bed room with a TV and a view of a parking lot. He was still wide awake. Sleep should be coming, but no. He sighed, sat up, and turned on the TV to see what news was on, and it sprang to life with a news reporter's voice. In the latest news, the reported fake money that has been flowing from the state into the state from unknown sources turns out to be real, the lead news reporter reported. How did they get that wrong? A second reporter sitting beside them asked. I don't know, but it took well over 2 months for people to confirm that the money was real. But the person who has been handing it out, well, they still haven't caught them yet, the reporter answered. And why do they want them? I mean, if they're giving out cash, isn't that their prerogative? This second reporter continued to press. The state and federal police did not give a good answer to that, but they were probably wanting a few words about where this person got the money in the first place. It looked fake and was real, so they'll want to know where it was gotten from, I guess. Well, that's all for this early afternoon news report, so we'll see you soon for the afternoon report. Turning off the TV, Hiram shook his head. Sleep wasn't coming, and things still weren't going to get any easier for him. The money was going to keep being a pain in his ass for a while. He got up, picking up his wallet and hotel room key, stomach grumbling a bit as he headed for the door. He found a cafe not far away, a nice little spot that had some outdoor seating. Settling in for lunch, he was busy people-watching when he saw the familiar face of the woman who had helped him at the parking meter. She was here with a couple of other women who were all busy chatting away. He watched for a moment to see if she noticed him, but they were all wrapped up in their conversation. Will that be all, sir? Hiram asked when he realized that somebody had talked to him, and it turned out to be the server. Will you have some coffee, or a piece of cake, or would you just like the bill? Oh, the bill, please. You do accept cash, right? It's an unusual way to pay these days, but the owner does accept it. He fished out his wallet and pulled out some money to offer it to the servant. I believe this will be enough to cover it, but I'll wait to make sure in case you need more. No, I think $40 is more than enough for a burger, fries, and a drink, sir, the server replied. Oh, good, then whatever is left is your tip. The server's eyes went wide at that. Oh, we don't really accept tips here, sir. Well, you don't have to tell anyone you got it, or likewise, you can donate it to the next person you come across who's in need. Sir, I cannot. Hiram, that was, waving his hand goodbye as he walked away to explore a bit of the town. The main street he'd arrived in a couple of hours earlier was now much busier thanks to it being the afternoon. People were hurrying about to get to where they needed and to get out of the way. The place was pretty lively, for only really having a few shops open. The rest of the spaces where stores might be were all closed up or looking for tenants. He wasn't sure of what to make of this place, since it was a city of reportedly 35,000 people, all according to the sign he passed while he was driving in. But that seemed like a long shot, and he had this feeling that he wouldn't be staying long enough to really figure that out, kept buzzing in his mind. It was just not a big, important question. He found himself not far from his car, so he walked over to check on the meter to see if he had to move it yet. As he arrived, though, he noticed the cop examining the meter and the car. Excuse me, is there a problem, officer? Just checking over things here. Are you the owner of this vehicle? The officer asked. I am. Is there something wrong with it? Broken taillight or something like that? No, just checking things and running through my little computer system. The cop held a handheld device that looked like a fairly big cell phone. As they did, Hiram noticed that their name tag read Pebble. He nearly did a spit take at that, and barely controlled his mouth. Was that really the cop's name? I see, you're doing good work then. I'm going to go ahead and move my car, though, Hiram said as he pointed towards it, which wasn't exactly helpful, but he still found himself doing that. You have plenty of time left on the meter, she replied. I'm glad to hear it, but I was merely stopping on by for a few days, and now that I got a room at the nearby hotel with a parking lot, it'd be best to move it over so that someone else can use the space, right? The cop perked up at what he was saying and began looking him over. Fearful that he'd said something that was going to lead to some sort of trouble, Hiram tried to smile at her. You just came into town? The officer asked. Yes, Officer Pebble. I do a lot of traveling, seeing the country and what it has to offer. The look from the cop intensified. You don't look like a retiree, so do you do this for work like one of them secret shopping people, or what exactly do you do? I am a traveler, enjoying my days as they go by. How do you get by in a society that requires money and a job? I guess I just float by on the fringes of it. Not entirely sure I get by, but I take jobs when I need money. Someone's always willing to hire for someone to do a bit of cleaning for a few days, and then I'm off again. This did not appear to placate the police officer, who narrowed their eyes further. It was pretty much full-on squint now that was carefully examining him. He kept standing there hoping that this would all soon be over. I think that the sheriff might want to have a word with you, Officer Pebble said. I will have that conversation, miss, when they come and find me then. I'm not going anywhere soon, as I just got here. Good, don't leave town until the boss can talk to you. Might I ask what this chat would be about? There has been some strangeness going around this area lately, mister. The sheriff wants to know about anyone coming into town that stinks of that sort of thing. You fit that description. Okay, Hiram responded. Good to know. I'll be sure to hang around. And to make sure that you do hang around, mister, I'll escort you to the hotel. You mean to get in my car and go with me to the hotel? I don't see a cop car anywhere around here,
Hiram said, and actually glanced around, confused.
Yes,
Pebble said.
If that is the case, then why don't I just drive to where the sheriff is, and, we can talk real quick, and that would be quicker and easier. They aren't in today. Job took them out of town. Since I already have your license plate, and I will call this in over my radio, I'd suggest you just do as you're told, sir. Fine, I will do as I'm told. Fine, fine, fine.
Driving extra carefully, Hiram drove his car to the hotel parking lot.
He picked out a nice spot that didn't have any cars nearby, any of the other spots, and then got out of this vehicle. Officer Pebble noted a few things down in a notepad that she was carrying around, and then began following him towards the entrance. Is there something else you needed? I need to make sure you're actually staying at this hotel, sir,
Officer Pebble stated.
Right and great, because you really don't trust me, do you?
Hiram said.
It is not an officer's job to trust the public. You have also done nothing to earn said trust. It was a very odd thing to say as they approached the front entrance of the hotel. Hiram really wasn't liking being here anymore, and he was looking around and noted a black van sitting in the parking lot near the entrance. Vans like this one, a big long thing, didn't usually show up unless it was the government, or so he'd learned. Well, I drove you here, didn't I? Isn't that worth something, Miss Pebble? No, into the hotel we go. The small space that made up the lobby of this hotel provided enough room for a front desk, the elevators, and a staircase. A sort of lounge area off to the side as well, though it really wasn't much. With the clerk, the co-op, and Hiram standing there, the place felt absolutely stuffed. Hello, how can I help you? She's here to know if I'm a guest at this hotel, sir,
Hiram said.
The clerk gave an odd look as Hiram held out the key to his room. They took it, looked it over, and then at their computer. Oh, let's see. I wasn't on when you were checked in, sir, but,
the clerk said.
I came in this morning. The name is Hiram Max, and I'm in room 302. Oh, yes, here you are. Indeed, the room has been lent to Mr. Hiram Max, and I'm going to guess that's you, since you do have the key. And may I see your license, just to be safe, Mr. Hiram, and your computer records, clerk?
Officer Pebble spoke up.
I don't think I can show them to you, Officer Pebble, not without some kind of warrant. The officer glances and glowers at the clerk, though he is quickly distracted by Hiram handing over his ID to her. It is quickly checked over, and some details are written down on that notebook. Mr. Hiram, the sheriff, will probably be in tomorrow morning. You should show up at the station. Okay, noted. The officer snorted at his response and then left after giving back the ID, and the quiet fell over them, only to be broken by the clerk. Sir, are you bringing down the law on this establishment? We don't let illegal things happen here.
The clerk asked.
No, I just drew some suspicion since I said I was traveling about. Apparently that is something the cops here don't like. I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. Are you sure you're not doing something illegal? Yes, Mr. Clerk. Are you kicking me out? I'll demand my cash back if that is the case. For a second, the clerk looked lost at exactly what to do, and they even looked towards the back where a little office was, hidden away. The action was enough to draw the attention of someone working in there, who then came around. Something going on, clerk? This man had the police come in with him, and they wanted to make sure that he actually had a room. Officer Pebble demanded to see that we had a room for him, but I said not without a warrant, like in those cops dramas, manager. Good for you. As for this gentleman, you paid up for the night, so you can stay for the night. We don't want the cops coming around here, so you only get this night, the manager said. We arranged for at least a couple of days, a week maybe,
Hiram replied.
That was before you brought the cops in here, Mr. Hiram,
the manager said.
Well, technically I brought the cops here, but only because the one decided that they didn't like that I was traveling through here. I don't care, Mr. Hiram. It's not my problem.
You now are the problem.
Since you brought the cops here, the manager said. What if I brought a note from the sheriff tomorrow, clearing me of everything? Would that fix this? Maybe, not sure, but it'd have to be one damn convincing note. Hiram nodded and slowly shuffled his way out to the parking lot again. There was a lot on his mind as he went out the automatic door. Trudging his way back to his car, Hiram looked over to see if that van was still there. It surprisingly had left, which only made him more suspicious of it. Why had it come here and then left? This added to his troubled thoughts as he went to the trunk of his car and popped it open to pull out a large, heavy suitcase. His arms sagged as he got it out and had to carry it back across the parking lot so he could get it to his room. With a frown, he noticed that the young woman from before was walking towards this hotel along the sidewalk. This time she did spot him, cocked her head and gave a wave. Not sure what that was all about, he gave a wave back, and she came over, approaching him. The people of this large little city were weird, and it wasn't good for his soul. Hello again. Yes, hi, miss. Did you change your mind about me paying you back for the parking meter? No, I just saw you and I thought I'd check up and see how things are going well. He furrowed his eyebrows at that question. We're good, but odd thanks to the sheriff's office. She looked puzzled for a moment until she realized what he meant. Oh, did you have a run-in with the cops? They're a bit aggressive in all things, since this is their patch of turf. Any outsiders are not liked. Yeah, I ran into at least one who doesn't like me because I'm traveling on by. Are you just traveling? And what is that like? Mostly nice, but with the downside since money is always an issue. I have some, but no one wants to accept actual cash these days. Oh, like me not wanting to take it from you? Yeah, you could say that. By the way, is there some place around here that could use some help money-wise? She gave him a strange look as he tried to smile through the question, as he wasn't sure his friendliness was coming across. The problem being he was a stranger who just offered her cash and was now about to ask if he could offer it to someone else. Probably a bit too far for just about anybody. Why do you ask, sir? I feel like it would be nice to do something nice for people of this town. You really are weird. I have been told that before, yes, miss. Realizing she might not actually help him with his question, he turned towards the front entrance of the hotel. A few steps were taken before she spoke up again. Well, if you really actually do want to do good, I suppose the Children's Center could use some help. It seems like they're always running into funding issues these days, thanks to the town government not liking to spend its money. I see. Thank you for the heads up. I will see what I can do for them. What are you going to do? Well, as a man of means, I'm merely going to give them some money when I get to the next town. Send it their way, and they'll never know it was me or have to deal with it, other than some money showed up. A partial truth. He was going to give them some money, but the post office here would be getting the package that contained the money to send to this place that Ruby had said, not sent from the next town, because people got really odd about cash these days. The young lady looked at him rather oddly, and then moved back away, going slowly. I see, weird person. I think I have to go now. I'm sure the children's place will love the donation. He watched her go, then went back to carrying his heavy suitcase into the hotel. The next morning, Hiram sat across from the sheriff of Mr. Burns' body and the man's office, a space made for getting work done in and not for those to relax in. The sheriff was glowering at him from across the desk with a bit of a sneer on his lip. Why are you here? I was told, Mr. Sheriff, that since I am a traveler heading through town, that you would want to meet with me. That was the impression and orders that Officer Pebble gave to me. And you're certainly following them to a T. Oh, when it comes to the police, I find that doing that and doing it as quickly as possible is the best course of action, sir. Well, you are at least an upstanding citizen, then. Why did Pebble tell you to come here? I'm from out of town and traveling through. I heard there was some sort of news bulletin about that. Travelers generally don't come here anymore. So why did you? I like to see small towns and medium ones and see what they have to offer. I live on the road. I can see, though, I'm not welcomed here,
Hiram said.
Yes, strangers are not welcome. Is that an edict you've decided on, or just the whole town doesn't like people and you don't know? Narrowing his eyes, the sheriff studied him for a moment in a shake of his head. His fingers were tapping away at the desk rapidly. None of your business. You staying in town, though? Leaving today, so I'll be out of your way. Couldn't get my hotel room extended beyond the night because of Officer Pebble. Just have to stop by the post office, and I will keep driving to the next place. Why are you stopping by our post office?
The sheriff demanded to know.
Well, I have bills to pay and a care package to send off. Will that be a problem, Sheriff? I don't like strangers, Mr. Hiram. No one in this town likes strangers, and we had weird warnings that come down the line. You did mention that earlier. What do you mean, weird warning? The story goes that there's some stranger coming to town bearing gifts, namely money. Well, that doesn't sound bad. Are the gifts bad or something? No idea. They didn't say, and I don't want to find out. Though now that I think about it, you do sort of fit a description of Mr. Moneyman. That little barb made Hiram nervous as he did his best to make sure that his feelings didn't bubble up. Because I'm a traveler? That's why you're saying this? I haven't really done anything wrong or illegal as far as I'm aware. Laws get tricky quickly, though, sir,
Hiram said.
Why do you say that, Mr. Hiram? Well, they change from town to town, don't they? And state to state, Sheriff. And then you deal with the federal law, which can trump all of that. It's
impossible
to know, except for the most basic of ones. As you're at least somewhat smart. You, however, cannot leave now,
the sheriff said.
Are you arresting me? On what charges?
Hiram asked, sitting up in his chair and looking about worriedly.
You already know on what, as the suspected person who matches the description of that notice. I cannot let you leave. Nodding along, Hiram frowned, wondering what kind of description had been given on that sort of email, message, note, whatever paper that had been passed along. The sheriff was waving around a sort of notice, but it wasn't readable to him. If you do not mind me asking, what's the kind of description was it, Sheriff Burnsbody? Tallish, hawkish man with a ruddy complexion that likes to be seen with money. Flashes it around all the time, more so this paper says. That doesn't sound like me at all, though, Hiram pointed out. Yeah, I don't really care if it does or does not. Not bothering to hide his frown at that, Hiram felt himself stiffen as he really just wanted to leave. He understood what this sheriff was now doing, and no good was to be found here, nor happiness either. Money was always on the table, though. I've done nothing wrong. You showed up when a warning was put out about you, the sheriff said pointedly. You don't know that it's me they're searching for,
Hiram protested.
I don't know that it isn't either, mister. Anyway, if you're innocent, you'll accept staying here, and being quiet will be your best bet. Hiram had to shake his head no. From my interactions with cops, no, it doesn't. It makes you think that you have something, and that you don't want to let go of it. I'm not worth all of this, though, and I can help you out if that's what you're looking for. Less paperwork. Are you trying to bribe me, Mr. Hiram?
Hiram shrugged to the man and then said,
You'll hear what you want to hear. Money is no object to me, as you can tell, since I'm just traveling around place to place. And if I let you walk out of here, we both go to your car to make sure you leave town. That's the way this works. Something like that, if that's the way you want it to be,
Hiram said with a nod.
Well then, let's go to your car. I want to get down its details just to be safe, and because my officers have a way of failing to get such details down on paper. Hiram and Sheriff Burnsbody both
Rose from their seats to get out of the office.
The morning sun was already saying that it was going to be a hot day as Hiram and the sheriff arrived at his car. Hiram went to the passenger side of the car, opened the door, then opens the glove box to pull out an envelope. He waited in his hand for a moment, then turned to the sheriff, holding it out for the man tentatively. It was taken and then quickly opened, with its contents thoroughly examined, as a grin appeared on Burnsbody's face. Now, I never saw you and know nothing about you,
the sheriff said firmly.
And I leave town the second you get back to your office,
Hiram said with a smirk.
Yep. Good luck whatever you're doing, and whatever's going on. The sheriff turned and began marching back towards the station. Hiram watched for a second, then rushed around his car to get into it. There was no way he was going to trust the Count to keep their word. Getting out of here fast and into the next town was really his only option. End of part 1 of Miles to Go. Thank you for listening.